So let's talk about Java arrays. In Java, an array is a data structure used to store a fixed-size sequential collection of elements of the same type. Arrays provide a convenient way to store and access multiple values of the same data type under a single name. Let's start with the declaration. So arrays are declared by specifying the data type of the elements followed by square brackets, right? So here the data type will be int, followed by square brackets, and then the array name, in this instance, numbers. This declares an array named numbers that can hold integers. Simple as that. Next, we have the initialization. Arrays can be initialized using an array initializer syntax of curly braces. So you'll see here we have curly braces on either side, or by specifying the size of the array and then assigning values to individual elements. Elements in an array are accessed using zero-based index notation. Zero-based meaning we start at 0. The first element in the array is numbered 0. So we have two elements, we have 0 and 1. If we have three elements, we have 0, 1, and 2. For example, numbers 0 accesses the first element in the array, numbers. So an example of that would be system.out.println numbers 0 will access the first element. If we want to access the second element, same thing, except we pass in the value 1 in the brackets. Arrays have a length property that returns the number of elements in the array. So for example, if we were to print out length of the array, we could use the length property of our numbers array to get that value. Now let's say we want to modify some elements. It's as simple as indicating the index of the value or element that you want to modify and then replacing it with another value. So in this case, in our index 2, so 0, 1, 2, we have 30. In order to modify that, we call numbers index 2 and we set that to 35. Now, when you print that out, you'll see that the value will be 35 instead of 30. So let's say we want to print out the elements of the array. This is different than Python, for example, where you can just print out an array and it'll give you all of the values. In Java, you're going to have to iterate over the array and print out each element. So we'll start with a for loop saying begin at index 0 while our iteration is less than the length of our array. At the end of every iteration, we will increment by 1 our counter, and we'll say system.out.println numbers I. And so what this is doing is that we're going to iterate over every element in the array where I is indicative of our current index. We're starting at 0, so we'll start at 10. And our first iteration of the for loop, this will print out 10. I will increment by 1, so it'll be 1 now. We'll be at index 1. This will print out 20. It'll increment again by 1. We'll be at index 2. This will print out 30, 5 because we modified it, and so on and so forth. In this example, an array of integers named numbers is declared, initialized, and accessed. Elements are modified, and the length of the array is printed. Finally, the for loop is used to iterate through the array and print each element. Arrays are fundamental in Java and are extensively used in various programming scenarios to store and manipulate collections of data efficiently.